census data as well. Could I pay to target predominantly Black zip codes and advertise them the incorrect election date?
No, Congresswoman, you couldn't. We have, even for these policies around the word that politicians say and the general principle that I believe that.
But you said you're not going to fact check my ads.
We have, if anyone, including a politician, is saying things that can cause, that is calling for violence or could risk imminent physical harm or voter or census suppression when we roll out the census suppression policy, we will take that content down.
So you will, there is some threshold where you will fact check political advertisements. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, Congresswoman, yes, if for specific things like that, where there's imminent risk of harm.
Could I run ads targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Would I be able to run advertisements on Facebook targeting Republicans in primaries saying that they voted for the Green New Deal? I mean, if you're not fact-checking political advertisements, I'm just trying to understand the bounds here. It's fair game.
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I think.
So you don't know if I'll be able to do that. Do you see a potential problem here with a complete lack of fact-checking on political advertisements?
Well, Congresswoman, I think lying is bad, and I think if you were to run an ad that had a lie, that would be bad. That's different from it being.
Look at that fucker right there. The fuck you looking at, motherfucker?
The right thing to do to prevent.
You blinking ass motherfucker. Blinking ass nigger.
So you won't take down lies, or you will take down lies? I think it's just a pretty.
That's a lie.
Yes or no.
Congresswoman,
I'm not talking about spin. I'm talking about actual.
Yes, in most cases, in a democracy, I believe that people should be able to see for themselves what politicians that they may or may not vote for.
So you won't take them
down. Character for themselves.
So you won't take. You may flag that it's wrong, but you won't take it down.
Congresswoman, it depends on the context that it shows up. Organic post ads. The treatment is a little.
One more question. In your ongoing dinner parties with far-right figures, some of who advance the conspiracy theory that white supremacy is a hoax, did you discuss so-called social media bias against conservatives, and do you believe there is a bias?
Congresswoman, I don't remember everything that was in the question.
That's all right. I'll move on. Can you explain why you've named the Daily Caller, a publication well-documented with ties to white supremacists, as an official fact checker for Facebook?
Congresswoman, sure. We actually don't appoint the independent fact checkers. They go through an independent organization called the Independent Fact Checking Network that has
ability to pay via set-off all obligations and properly presented with a bill as all accounts are prepaid. In legal fiction, the city of Detroit has failed to tender a valid bill containing a sum certain, thereby preventing satisfaction in a court to facilitate the continued economic slavery of the people of the city of Detroit. The bankruptcy petition is intentionally confusing, misleading, and failing to stipulate the specific meanings of the words used in the petition, while employing multiple and diabolically opposed meanings to the words in the body of the document, identifying the inhabitants as creditors and then the debtors with a need to be protected from themselves in bankruptcy. Number three, it is the less than 80-year-old legal fiction, the city of Detroit, a device which has been intentionally mismanaged by politicians, bureaucrats, and consultants, whose wordsmithing and sleight of hand that has to cast the inhabitants into economic slavery, which is intentionally insolvent. The city of Detroit is a device created by the trustees and administration guardians operating under the jurisdiction of the Roman Curia, who have tricked the people into pledging their property as collateral, which has fraudulently converted the true creditors into debtors, reducing the creditors to the status of insolvent paupers having no rights. The city of Detroit is a legal fiction alien who has hypothecated the credit of the people of the city of Detroit and holds private matching funds, who refuses to execute the set-off of debt for the settlement and closure of the accounts to return the city of Detroit, lowercase, and the city of Detroit, uppercase, to solvency. These are two different entities. It has been established, in fact, that the city of Detroit is a legal fiction, all uppercase, a legal fiction alien whose ownership and/or control over the property and credit of the people is adversely affecting the global state trust as well as the living beneficiaries thereof. The people, the true creditors, and the principal, in reference to the bankruptcy of the city of Detroit, hereby set forth the remedy to wit: the immediate set-off of the debt for settlement and closure of the accounts, liquidation of the legal fiction, the
Going
city of
down.
Detroit, and the immediate return
It's
of the
going
property
down.
via escheat to the principal for administration of original jurisdiction. We have proposed a Detroit recovery plan to implement this.
When your time is up, I will give you another moment or so.
It's going to be about 3, but I will wrap up as soon as possible. As we look around us, we can see that managing the economic emergency since 1933 has not turned out so well for the people. The emergency management by the present civil administration, funded by the good faith and credit of the people, has dramatically tarnished the credit and reputation of the people as it has converted the creditors, we the people, into debtors and reduced us in status to that of insolvent paupers having no rights.
Insolvent
Managing the
paupers.
emergency has given rise to a perpetual emergency with increasing
What the fuck?
consequences, casting us all into insolvency. Emergency management by the present civil administration has resulted in the creditors, we the people, being reduced to debtors and enemies of the state under the Trading with the Enemy Act, under which the present civil administration has waged war against the people, the creditors, for decades. They have waged economic war against the people as well as a war against crime, war against drug, war against hunger and homelessness, and a war against terrorism, which has resulted in dramatically increased crime, increased illicit drug abuse, increased hunger and homelessness, and increased terrorism and war. Detroit is a clear example establishing the evidence that management of the economic emergency delivers to us an even greater emergency with which to manage, all at the expense of the people, the true creditors. The electronic funds transfers, EFTs, to discharge the debt and make the return of the property in the exchange.
All right, I have to ask you to terminate your statement now, sir.
Wait a minute. There are Title 18 protections in place for me.
May I have your attention, sir? It appears to me that what you are saying to me is directly from what you filed with the court.
Yes.
And I read it, so I've already seen.
So it is written, so it is done, you're saying. Because as the fiduciary trustee, all fiduciary trustees will be held accountable. And if the order is not carried out, there will be war crimes assessed.
All right, so I have to ask you to terminate your statement now.
I will not terminate it. It stands. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Before we close our court session here today, I want to comment to everyone here that this was truly an extraordinary session of the court. It was an example of democracy at its very finest. The arguments and statements that you all took the time to articulate in writing and in court here today were moving, thoughtful, passionate, compelling, and well articulated. There were well-stated legal arguments, well-stated personal concerns, well-stated arguments about our political process. And I'm going to suggest, therefore, strongly suggest, that everyone who has a stake in the outcome of this case, most of whom unfortunately were not here today, should take the time to listen to the audio recording of this proceeding, this entire proceeding, as long as that takes.
Since the fall of Atlantis, Satan and his minions have been working tirelessly to end all goodness on this planet. But God and the Brotherhood of Light have put together their own plan to defeat the dark side. Throughout history, many prophets have come forth to speak of the coming glories of humanity. This truth was made known only to fall silent on the death years of the ignorant masses. But change is on the horizon. By the time of the Renaissance, humanity had begun to rise from its slumber. Slowly, mysticism and superstition began to be replaced with science and logic. It is here 400 years ago, at the altitude of England, where this story begins. A secret marriage was arranged between Queen Elizabeth I and Sir Robert Dudley. Due to Dudley's political ambitions, the Queen chose an Virgin Queen status. From this marriage came forth Francis Bacon, who was raised by an adopted family. At the age of 15, while his parents were arguing, he overheard the truth, that he was the future heir of the King of England. All his life, the Queen kept him fundamental and men's more power. To be or not to be, that was his question. Alas, it was not to be. In 1603, Queen Elizabeth appointed King James VI of Scotland to be her successor. Instead of letting us defeat him, Francis chose to rise above the circumstances in the pursuit of scholarly and political interests. He had the King James Bible translated. He wrote the Shakespearean sonnets. He persuaded King James I to charter Newfoundland that was an officer in the Virginia Company. He was King James's Lord Chancellor, and he fatherly Dr. Wesley, who set the grounds for science and technology to liberate the world. Secretly, he was a master of the alchemical sciences and the occult. It was here that he began to remember his past lives as the prophet Samuel, Plato, St. Joseph, Merlin, Roger Bacon, and Christopher Columbus. When he was the prophet Samuel, he helped liberate the children of Abraham from the bondage of corrupt Greece and the Philistines. In the 5th century, while Europe was falling into the Dark Ages, he returned again as Merlin to help King Arthur establish Britain into a stronghold against ignorance and superstition, a place where Christ achieved and flower, in devotion to the one source, and prosper in the quest for the Holy Grail. It was later in the 19th century when his efforts blossomed, when the United Kingdom became a place where industry and individual initiative could thrive as never before in 12,000 years. As the medieval alchemist Roger Bacon, he predicted the invention of a hot air balloon, a flying machine, a magnifying glass, and mechanically propelled ships and carriages. And amazingly, he wrote of them as if he actually had seen them. He believed true knowledge stems not from the authority of others, nor from a blind allegiance to antiquated dogmas, but instead is a highly personal experience, a light that is communicated only to the innermost privacy of the individual through the impartial channels of all knowledge and of all thought. Because of the radical nature of these beliefs, the Church imprisoned him, where he remained for his final years. In his Opus Majus, he wrote of a voyage of 3 ships and the discovery of the New World. The sea between the Pacific on the west and the beginning of India on the east is navigable in a very few days if the wind is favorable. In his next life as Christopher Columbus, he was inspired by these words, and along with a prophecy made by Isaiah, he knew a new world would be found, whereby God would recover the remnant of his people, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. Isaiah 11:12. When Francis Bacon became conscious of these incarnations, he sought those hidden treasures he placed away until his rebirth. At the age of 12, Francis conceived of a time when mankind would go through a period of great restoration. In 1620, he placed this vision for humanity in his book, The Great Instauration, in which he formalized how to change the whole wide world through the restoration of true knowledge after centuries of obscurity and neglect. It was here that he first devised the scientific method that ultimately launched the new English Renaissance. Many of his ideas were kept in the shroud of secret society
Kabbalah.
in order to hide from the prying eyes to church officials. With help from his brother Anthony and some friends who were students at Gray's Inn Law School, they created a secret society known as the Knights of the Helmet. They chose this name from the goddess Athena, who was depicted as wearing Pele's helmet of invisibility and carrying a
Pallades?
knowledge.
Stupid ass ladies.
It's about wisdom, intellect,
Motherfucking moron.
human life. Athena's helmet of invisibility represents her silent war against ignorance and sloth. The Knights of the Helmet also consider themselves invisible warriors
Fuck those
against
niggas.
ignorance and sloth, as they secretly work to expand the English language by creating new literatures, not written in Latin, but instead in words all Englishmen can understand, such as found within the King James Bible. In
Motherfucker.
1611, the King James edition of the Bible was commissioned in order to unite the Anglican and Puritan church leaders. After a long series of edits by nondescript translators, the final draft was handed to King James, who then passed it on to Francis Bacon, so that he could revise the Bible into a marvelous piece of literary work, which is still being used today. Many of these works were written anonymously under pen names such as William Shakespeare. Francis chose this name because the goddess Athena was known to carry a golden spear of knowledge, which she would use to strike at the serpent of ignorance. When sunlight would strike her spear, it was known to tremble. Thus the people would say she was shaking her spear again, hence the word Shakespeare. In a symbolic gesture, Francis would shake his pen as a spear of knowledge to slay the dragons of foolishness. Written within Shakespearean plays is a hidden cipher which shows Francis Bacon not only as a true heir of the King of England, but also of Queen Elizabeth's secret marriage to Leicester and a preceding two sons. For upon his birth, Francis Bacon was given over to Sir Nicholas and Lady Anne, who pleaded with the Queen for the life of the child. Queen Elizabeth rejected her son because she feared her subjects would choose a male heir over herself to rule the kingdom.
This is an ugly motherfucker right there.
Into the secret marriage and her two children, such as found within this portrait. However, any talk of this during the time of Queen Elizabeth
Hell on.